हरि दर्शन की प्यास हरि दर्शन.
Hi, my name is Stephen Bost, and I'm going to be telling some stories from ancient India. These stories are designed to give us some insight into some difficult topics sometimes that come from this ancient culture, such as karma, Maya, reincarnation, or human dilemma. I call these stories stories from ancient India. And so sit back, enjoy these stories, and maybe you can get some insight on some of these topics. Thank you. So this story is going to be about our human dilemma and the guru. So one day, a young male lion was living with its pride of lions. And at some point, he became separated from his family. And he began to wander through different parts here in India. And he was really hungry. He was a small lion and hadn't hunted much. And he hadn't learned how to hunt. So he came upon this clearing and he saw a bunch of donkeys that looked like they were having a great time. There was a group of donkeys, and he thought they looked like fun, so he decided he'd go and find out where there's some food, or maybe they knew where his family was or something like this. So he came upon the group of donkeys, and basically he kind of became part of their family. So he began to grow up in this family of donkeys. And they treated him just like he was a brother. And he ate the grass, and he hawed like a donkey, whatever the donkeys, whatever noise they make like that, right? So he began to do that. That was a sound he began to make as a lion. He was making these sounds as a donkey. And he was growing, and after some time, after a few years, he became to be like a full-grown male lion, but he was now living with these donkeys. And so they're all having a great time. He's growing up. And then the other donkeys then saw in the distance another huge male lion. And he began to approach the group. Well, they all fled. They all took off. But the other family member of the donkeys, the male lion, he stayed because there was something familiar about this other animal that was coming up towards them. So the other male lion came up. He's there. And the male lion says, "Oh, brother, what are you doing? What are you doing living here with these donkeys?" He says, "Oh, this is my family. These are my brothers and my sisters. I'm part of them. This is my group. This is my family." And the male lion goes, "What? No, man, you're not. No, you're not a donkey. You're like me. You're a lion like me." He says, No. I'm with the donkeys. I'm a donkey. I'm not. No. I don't even know who you are, and you're telling me this is not my family." So the lion says, "Here, come over here to the edge of the water." So he goes over, and they look over this pond there, and they look down. They both look down and see the reflection from the water. And the male lion, who was thinking he was a donkey, suddenly sees that him and the lion next to him are the same. Okay, they're the same. And he realizes that he was not a donkey, that he has always been a lion, was never a donkey. He just thought he was a donkey. In reality, he was a lion. Okay? But it took another lion to show him his own true nature, who he truly is. The yogis say that this is our human dilemma, that we think we maybe are this person or that person, or in this case, a donkey. We think we're a donkey, but in reality, we're much more than that. We're much more than that. So we shouldn't be thinking of ourselves as little or small or inferior or this or that. We should realize our own true nature, which is divine, that we are divine beings who just think we're a human being. And this is our human dilemma, and this is what we need to. The yogis say that first of all, you need to realize you're in prison before you begin to extricate yourself from prison. This is our human dilemma. And the great beings come and show us our own true nature, our own true selves, if we only listen. So be like the lion and listen to the wisdom of the others, of the other lion. Thank you very much. Okay, the story I'm going to be talking about today deals with karma. Now, karma is sometimes a hard concept to grab a hold of. Basically, karma means action or actions. And the idea behind it is that for every action, there's a reaction. So whatever you do, that comes back to you. If you do good, good comes back. If you do bad, bad comes back. That's how it's all set up. So this story is about karma, and I call it the story of the sadhu and the family. One day in this small village in ancient India, a sadhu, a wandering monk is a sadhu. A sadhu had come into this village and was sitting in a little coffee area, Starbucks, I guess you could say, sitting there enjoying some tea with a couple of folks, and he was talking about the philosophies from ancient India and all of this. And there was a young man sitting there next to him, and he became very interested in this sadhu and his life. And after they talked for a while, he says, well, you know, my wife is a great cook. So would you mind coming over to my house now and having dinner? She'll cook up a great dinner, and we can continue our conversation. So the sadhu says, okay, that seems like a good idea. Yeah. So so they went to his house, and the man explained to his wife the guest that they had brought over. Now, in India, a guest is considered sacred, so they went all out to provide a really nice meal. And during that time when she's preparing the dinner, the man and the sadhu were having a really nice conversation. So they fixed a dinner and had a dinner, and afterwards she was cleaning up, and they continued to discuss things. And then at one point, the man says, well, okay, it's getting late. I'm going to go ahead and turn in and go to bed and see you in the morning. There's a little patio veranda outside and a couch. You can lay there and you can spend the night there. And the sadhu said, yes, that sounds fine. So he goes out and he's laying there on the couch on the veranda, and the man's wife is finishing cleaning up. And at one point, she came out to the veranda, and the sadhu was asleep on the couch, and she saw him there, and she realized that he'd probably been walking for years and days, and for sure. So she begins thinking, I bet his legs are probably sore, so maybe I'll begin to massage his legs for him. So she's massaging his legs, started his feet, and start moving up his legs. As she's moving up his legs like this, suddenly she starts to get other ideas. She starts to become lustful towards the sadhu. And as she's moving up his legs higher and higher, suddenly the sadhu wakes up. And he looks at it and says, woman, what are you doing? You're a married woman. What are you doing? And she goes, ah. She goes into the kitchen and she gets the big knife. And she goes in and stabs her husband and kills him. comes back to the sadhu, and she's got a bloody knife and blood all over her. She says to the sadhu, "I'm no longer married." Well, the sadhu freaks out. He totally freaks out. He says, "What? What have you done? What have you done? Oh my God, what have you done?" So they're on a ground level, so he jumps over the veranda and takes off, starts walking out of the village. Well, the woman, she kind of comes to her senses and realizes what she's done and what's happened. So she starts calling out, "He's a thief, he's a robber, he's murdered my husband, he's murdered my husband." So she starts making all this commotion, and the police come, and everybody comes, and she starts telling them a story that the sadhu is the one who went and killed her husband, so he could have her. Well, they went out, the police went out, and they found the sadhu outside of town. They brought him back. The next morning he was presented to the judge. The woman gave her side of the story, which was a lie. She was lying to them about what had happened. The sadhu gave his story, which was his true story. The judge couldn't decide. He says, "I can't decide who's telling the truth. I don't know which." He says, "But what I'm going to do is we're going to cut off the arms of the sadhu." So they take the knives and they cut off at his elbows, bandage up his arms, and send him out. So he's walking now out of the village, and he's walking away. And at one point, as he's far away from the village, he finds this tree, a shade tree, and he starts praying to God. He starts asking God, "What happened? Why did this happen to me? I have been a devotee of you, Lord, for my whole life. All I've done is wanted to serve you and to worship you and to honor you. Now this has happened to me. Why has this happened to me? I have been a good sadhu my whole life." This vision comes in front of him. It's a woman, it's a goddess. She says, "Oh, sadhu, so you want to know why this has happened to you?" He says, "Yes, please, please, tell me." She says, "Okay, I will. Your past life, you were a sadhu also, your past life. And one day you were taking a bath in this lake. And you come running towards the lake was this cow. And just as it got to the waters of the lake, it turned and went off that way. A few minutes later, a butcher came running with his knife. And he ran up to you and said, 'Oh, sadhu, did you see a cow come through here?' Now, sadhus are supposed to tell the truth. So he says, 'Yes, I did.' And he says, 'Which way did it go? Which way did the cow run?' And the sadhu uses both hands and says, 'That way.' So the butcher took off after the cow. Okay, so you were a sadhu in your past life, and again in this life. Well, the cow was the wife in this life. The butcher is her husband in this life. Okay? So even though the butcher butchered the cow in the past life, there had to be a karmic justice. So what happened was, in this life, the woman killed the butcher who was now her husband. You were the sadhu, and because you, in that past life, used your arms to point the direction that the cow ran away, these are the reasons why your arms were cut off. So this is your karma. And this is her karma, and this is her husband's karma. So these are the ways of karma. So whenever we are doing something to someone or for someone, there's always going to be results, karmic results because of this. Even though it might seem harsh in this life, but there's always karmic justice. The yogis say we can't escape our karmic justice. Only the great beings, the great sadhus, the great gurus, only they can then help us with our karma. That is their job, that is their role, is then to alleviate that long list of karmic responsibility that we have incurred throughout many lives. So I hope you can understand karma a little bit better with this story. Thank you very much.
दर्शन के प्यासे हरि दर्शन की प्यासी अखियाँ हरि दर्शन के